Hey, True Believers. Chris Mack coming at you with another weekend figure review. And this is the double assassin review of two of my favorite comic book DC villains. We are going with the DC Essentials Deathstroke and the DC Collectibles Suicide Squad Deadshot. And I love the way both of these figures came out. Now, if you want to pick these two up, I looked on Big Bad Toy Store, Megaopolis, and Shop DC Entertainment, and they are not available there. So you're going to have to either A, call your local comic shop and see if they can order, which fingers crossed, I hope they can for you, or B, I found these both on eBay for a relatively good price point. So let's go ahead and go over both figures. We'll go ahead and start with Deadshot, and we'll come back to Deathstroke here in a second. So you get this really cool, neat little box. I like the little bullet holes here, and then, you know, was a big fan of the new 52 Suicide Squad run, so I just love that they released this line. You flip it around here to the side, and you kind of get that neat little, what do you call that, silhouette of Deadshot. And when I see these, it always reminds me of the old Apple iPod commercials where they're dancing in the silhouette. You flip it around here to the back, you see the other two characters that you need here from the line. I'll get a close-up so you can pause it, check it out at your convenience. Flip it around this way, you get a really cool product shot of Deadshot, you get Deathshot and Deadshot backward. Deadshot here, and I like that cool little bullseye there. That's really neat. Come back around to the front, there's Deadshot again, looking really cool. I like that Suicide Squad line there, which that is the logo from the new 52 line. Love it, especially with the crosshairs. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. You look here on the bottom, that's just all the legal mumbo jumbo. Who cares? Look here on the bottom, top, you see that, you know, Deadshot here has his own little breathing holes. So, you know, that's cool. Now let's go over to Deathstroke, which I absolutely love. Let's tilt down just a wee bit because his box is a little bit smaller. And what I love about these DC Essentials and the designers is you get that cool, what do you call that, faded out mute of all the figures that are in the line. You see all the accessories, which we'll go over here in a little bit. You get that cool DC Collectibles direct from the source, #2. And I love how it says here, you know, 20 years, 1998 to 2018. So that's really cool. Get another cool golden DC logo there. Flip around this side, and he doesn't have any breathing holes, so, you know, sad panda. Come around here to the back, get a read up, and the figures need, so I'll make sure to get close-ups of those so you can pause it, read it at your convenience. Flip around this side, very cool product shot. #2 again, Deathstroke. Come back around here to the front. Awesomeness right there. Come to the top. I like that he has his own cool little logo to make sure, you know, that because he only has one eye, so that's a really cool logo for Slade. Come around here to the bottom, you know, all the same legal stuff. No, again, who cares? But, my friends, what we do care about is, are both these figures worth your time picking up? So what say you? Shall we get these deadly assassins out of the box and get a closer look at them in their entirety? And here's Deadshot and Deathstroke out of the packaging and just looking magnificent. I love the way that they're posed here on the spinner, and I'm just so glad to have these two assassins in my collection. I always love when these two give Batman a run for their money, or every time that Deathstroke gives the Titans, especially in the, I guess it'd be the animated shows where he's always giving Damian a hard time. And then also, if you guys have not read it, I believe it's called the Judas Pact. It's the newest Titans comic. We'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, he really hounds Damian. And then, of course, I just love Deadshot. And if I'm not mistaken, during the Batman Bruce Wayne Fugitive, he was the one that was setting Bruce Wayne up. And yeah, just great villains. Like, I'm replaying Arkham City, and I just have to say that I'm so excited to play the Deadshot extension. And I was a little disappointed with the Deathstroke one in, what was it, Arkham Knight, where it was just all the tanks and the tanks and the tanks and the tanks. Anyway, before I digress. But yeah, just looking at these two characters right off the bat, absolutely beautifully sculpted. And we'll get further into the paint apps and the articulation here in a second. But I just wanted to show off how awesome our two Batman, well, DC rogues, but for me it's always primarily Batman, how great they look when you get them out of the box and you pose them. So what say you, True Believers? Let's go ahead and get them off the spinner, and let's get a closer look at Slade Wilson and Floyd Lawton. Now, I really like these accessories that the two characters come with. The sword and the handgun belong to Deathstroke, And this, I think, is an AK-47, or it's, you know, it's an assault rifle. This comes with Deadshot. And we'll go ahead and start with this one because I think it looks really nice. Now, I'm not super prolific when it comes to guns, so if you guys know what this is model is supposed to be modeled after, let me know, because I always like to be educated. You know, I like this extension they added to the butt here. That's really cool. I like that they also made sure, even though everything's one color and it's that gunmetal gray, you know, I like that they make sure that the attention to detail on the pistol grip for the gun here, and then of course, you know, the indentions and the magazine clip here, and then the extension. Now all these, I'm guessing, is supposed to be like a laser sight. And of course the barrel here looks really, really good. You can see where, you know, the heat releases, and then of course you get your scopes. Really good stuff there. Flip it around and it just, I like all that attention to detail. You know, you don't really need to do that, but I appreciate that they did. And then what's really cool is when you flip around this way and you kind of see Floyd Lawton's point of view. I like that they made sure to put the scopes, which I wonder why they put two. I wonder if it's for different distances. But I like that red. That's really, really, really nice blood red, which, you know, assassin. But yeah, that's a really nice gun. So I really, really am glad that they added that to his accessories. And the same thing with Slade. I think this is supposed to be modeled after either probably a 45 or a 9, either or. I'm just wondering 45 because the barrel looks a little bit longer. And just like with Deathstroke, you know, they didn't have to pay this much attention to the gun. But, you know, I love all the grooves and indentions along the chamber here, especially back here. Then, of course, the trigger guard. And then, you know, you get the basic black for the grip, which is neat. Got the hammer, which is cool. Then I like that they actually added this right here, which I think this, I can't remember if this is a, I can't remember what that is. If you guys can help me remember, that on certain handguns where you can attach this back part to your guns. It's not like an otter something or other, but basically what this does is when you shoot and the chamber goes back to eject the shell, this right here usually helps keep from pinching your skin, which is very, very helpful. But yeah, all the way around, just really nice attention to detail on the gun. Really good stuff like that. And then, of course, one thing I've always thought was cool about Slade is on his sword, you know, his handguard here. I never quite understood why it went all the way down like this, but it's nice. Don't get me wrong. I really think that's a really neat detail, but I just never understood the choice other than, you know, comics. And then what's neat is how they actually on the blade, you know, instead of it being one long piece, I like these indentions here, which this looks very much like this, you know, the sword that he's been using since his first appearance, which we'll get into in a moment. And then again, help me out, guys. On the blade, whenever they put that indention in the sword, I forget what it's called, and I forget why they do that other than to make it look nice. But look at the way that shimmers against the light. Just very, very nice. You know, you got that nice kind of dark silver. Mine has this, some sort of gunk. This came with it. I didn't use it to pick my nose or anything. But I mean, it looks like some hot glue or something. But yeah, that's probably my one gripe against this Deathstroke figure is I took it out, saw that, and I went, oh, come on. But yeah, we're gonna skip past that because that's a minor nitpick. But again, you come down to the handle here, and I love all the grooves they put into that. And you get that nice gold. Oh man, that just looks beautiful, especially the way that reflects like that. Heck yeah. So that was one of the things that when I saw this figure, I went, oh yeah, that sword looks like his original sword from way back when, and you know, continues to use through the years. So yeah, great accessories for both figures. So some backstory on our figures here. The first appearance of Deathstroke is in Marv Wolfman and George Perez's New Teen Titans #2. And our first appearance of Deathstroke, Floyd Lawton, is Batman #59. And what makes me laugh about Deathstroke is when he was first introduced, he did not look like this. He kind of just wore a suit, had a top hat, and kind of had like that villain mustache, you know, nah, with the goatee. And yeah, it was really silly. I remember reading it a while back, and I was just like, oh my. I did do a review on Teen Titans #2, which I'll make sure to leave the little thingy up here, you know, where you guys can collect stuff up in this corner there. Yeah, there. But yeah, great stuff. And some of the best stories for these characters that I personally feel is, you know, Deathstroke's first appearance, and then the pivotal Teen Titans Judas Contract, which introduced him, and well, not introduced him, but had him and Tara. And they did a movie on it, which was good stuff. And then Deadshot, I've always loved when they introduced him in the Suicide Squad, because that's where I've always felt that he shines, because they always kind of give him some redeeming qualities when they do that. When it's just like in the Batman books, he's just a straight up jerk, but when they always put him in Suicide Squad, whether it be the original run from the 80s or the new 52, yada yada yada, he always kind of has these redeeming qualities that always makes him a good leader. Now for Deathstroke, one of the newer really good stories that they did with him was called, I think it was called the Lazarus Contract in Teen Titans. It spanned across Teen Titans and Deathstroke, I think, and maybe Titans. I'm not 100% sure on that. Let me know down in the contract, down in the comments. But yeah, good reading there. Now with that said, let's get a closer look at our figures. So we'll start with Deathstroke here, and this obviously is not his original look. His original look was more a light blue, and for his boots, he had these, it was so like late 70s, early 80s, where they were orange boots. They went all the way up here, and then they like flowed out over, so they had like this bell-bottom quality to it. This look here, I believe, is after Flashpoint, and I think this even spelt over into Rebirth. But yeah, I like this look, because they did their best to keep the original look. And of course, you know, he lost this eye, and of course you get that nice black around there with that white, as you can see. And I always love the orange. And this case, I don't know if it's like a really kind of grayish blue or just straight up gray differentiation. I like this design of all these different textures on his shoulder. That's really cool. And then I like how the white offsets there, and you got the gray there. You got the orange gloves, and good stuff there. I like that gray on top of the orange. And then on the fingertips too, really helps. I like this kind of half belt as well. Looks like a utility belt, but you know that those are all pockets for bullets, so that's really good stuff. I like how the gray goes all the way down. You think that that would be too much, but it really works on this figure. It really sets off the tone, the muscle tones of the body. I like the wraps around the wrist. And what I appreciate with these is, you know, they stay, unlike the Marvel Legends stuff, where these always slide all over the place. And then that's kind of the case with this. I like this loose sword, scabber. We'll go with that. And of course, it is also orange and gray. Love this. This is always one of my favorite things about Deathstroke too, is he always has this. This feels kind of like a leather and not cloth. So, you know, you can easily move it around, get some really good designs with that. Just be careful, because you can kind of see how it's glued in. So make sure not to pop that out, because that will make you a sad panda. And then I like the loose gun strap on the side, so you can take that 9mm and just bloop, and we are good to go. Like that orange strap around the leg there. Good stuff, coming all the way down. I like how they just kind of gave him more like a Ninja Tabby look here. That's really nice. Now, one thing that does kind of bug, okay, they got down here, they got the ankle knife, and sadly, that is just a paint accessory. I mean, they made it loose, so that's cool, but I wish that you could have taken that out. That would have been neat. Like the paint on the tips here, you got the orange. And you have a little bit of silver, I guess, to make it look more steel toe-ish. Good stuff. I like the ripples on the feeties. Really nice. Great paint apps overall. As you can see, there's clean, no blemishes or obvious blemishes that I see. So yeah, Mr. Slade Wilson here looks really good. Now, speaking of which, little fun fact. So his name is Slade Wilson, Deathstroke the Terminator. Now, when Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza created Deadpool, they wanted to kind of poke fun at Deathstroke. So that's why he's Deadpool, and his name is Wade Wilson. So that was kind of an homage / playful poke at Deathstroke. So there, as they used to say, the more you know. So that's Deathstroke. Great stuff all around. Really can't complain. Oh, one other thing. One other big beef. I'm sorry. So he has a gun and his sword, right? You're like, okay, cool. So they give you an open hand for the gun and the sword here on his left hand. And a closed fist. Why? Why, DC, would you give us 2 accessories and 1 open hand and not an extra hand to swap it out? That is aggravating. That's probably my biggest beef with this figure is when you get closed fists. It's like, how can you add things? You know what I mean? At least they gave you good weapon storage, but come on with the fists. Come on. That is so frustrating. So that's probably my biggest strike against Deathstroke. Now, Deadshot, I think he looks absolutely magnificent. And I think the biggest thing, well, I've always loved the design of his helmet. I always thought that was good stuff. And then what I really like is when you really get up in here, I love that they put the crosshairs in his eyepiece. And then they made sure to make all the metal stuff look really good. They got all the grooves and indentions, and it kind of matches the gunmetal gray of his helmet, the dry brushing. Good stuff. You can kind of see where his ears rest. And I like how all through the body, you kind of get this leather look of his uniform. Now, pre-Flashpoint, his uniform was this very bright red, and it didn't have all this extra armor. It looked more to me like, it's the classic look, so I love it, but to me, that bright red, and then he had just this chest piece, it looks like pajamas, like cosplay to an extent. So this one here is post-Flashpoint to the New 52, which is that Suicide Squad run, which if you guys have not read it, absolutely phenomenal. And I love these shoulder pads. Has that same kind of gunmetal gray dry brush along the silver. And I like how they make it actually look like it feathers out, kind of like chain link. Good stuff. I like the necklace or the collar and how it buttons right there and it goes all the way around. Good stuff. Same thing on the back. The plating all looks really nice, especially this thing around his torso. I don't know if that's supposed to be more armor or just support. But yeah, I like how they have all the grooves and divots and make sure it looks like it's nice and on there. That red just really helps make it look good. I like the bracers. And of course, one of Deathstroke's qualities is that he shoots from his hands, so on the fly, because he's supposed to be an expert marksman. And I like that they both have that nice gold look about them. Really like the attention to detail they did on the gun, where it just looks like little mini semi-automatics. Great stuff there. Really beautiful. I love the divots and the bracers too, and how it kind of layers out onto the hand. Like those knuckles. Looks kind of like, brass knuckles. Great stuff there. Now, my only beef here would be the fact, again, he comes with that rifle, right? And he has the trigger hand and then an extra, the one to steady with the other hand. So this is where the gun goes in, right? One open hand. And again, DC, why? Why give us a closed fist? Why would you do that? Because now when you try to put, you set up the gun, you're going to have to put it in this hand and then rest it to make it look like he's holding it. But you cannot swap the hands out. It's closed. Stop it. And then, okay, that aside, we're just going to, I love these compartments for more clips for his wrists or for his gun. Good stuff there. I like the metal armor down his legs and that brown leather that clips inside. Such good stuff. I like that his boots also have that same gold effect that his hands have. And of course, the attention to detail. Really nice. You see no problems. And I love the grooves in the boots. No problems with the paint apps whatsoever. Absolutely well sculpted figure, just minus the closed hand. So yeah, Deadshot looks just as nice as Deathstroke does. Just they both have that closed hand, which really makes adding accessories onto your character really frustrating. But overall, I think they look absolutely beautiful. And I'm glad that whoever sculpted them, minus the closed hands, did take their time to make these look comic accurate. So for the articulation, we'll go ahead and start with Deathstroke. And the articulation, there's ups, there's goods and bads about all of them. So with him, you know, you can't really look down. I mean, he has that head bob, so you can do your best to kind of get him to look down that much. And the same thing, you have to be careful not to pop it off the ball joint, so you can look up about that much. He does have the pivot here on the head joint, so you can twist it pretty good. Again, with my figures, I don't twist them 360 because I'm always afraid of popping the head off and breaking the joint. So there's that. Arms can go 360, which is very, very good. And then arms can go that high up. Now, if you do take that joint there and spin it, it can go up that way, so you can do the YMCA, and it goes down that way. He does have that upper arm cut there, so you can get a nice 360 degree there, so that's really nice. He does have double jointed elbows, so you're just like, woo, woo, DC got something right on the figure. Hand spin 360, and they can go up that much and that down, make him look like a dainty little flower. Ab crunch, just be careful with these designers, because if you try to rack it without being careful with it, it will break, so always make sure you have a good firm grip on the body. Ab crunch that much down. Ab crunch that much back, so you get a nice range of motion there for some nice karate kicks. Legs about that far out, not bad, not bad. Kick out that far, which I'm losing my focus, so focus. And then you can kick back about that much, so not that bad. Does have double jointed knees, so you can get a good range of bending. I know I'm singing, sorry. You guys can make fun of me in the comments. Does have upper thigh cut, which again, so you can see this one kind of twists better. This one's a little stiff, so be careful, because if you try to be firm with the figure, there it goes. If you try to be too firm, it will break. He does have the boot cut. Again, be careful. He's really tight there. So, you can get some good range there. And again, you don't want to rip off that knife. Feet can go down that much and up that much. And he has some ankle pivot. So good stuff for an older figure. So yeah, that is the articulation for Deathstroke. Let's take a look at Deadshot, who is an older figure, surprisingly, than Deadshot. So for him, head can look down that much and look up about that much, so he kind of limited there. He does have the swivel, can go that far, and then I like that these shoulder pads move like this so that you can actually get his head to move without really that hindering, so that's good stuff there. Same thing for the arms. The arms can go up this much, and again, you get that joint there and can go up that much, so that's good stuff. He also has, get that there, he has that upper arm twist, so you can get a nice 360 degree there. And this is what I mean by an older figure. Single jointed elbows. I hope those become a thing of the past, because double jointed elbows is where it's at. He does rotate at the glove, so you can go that way and that way. He doesn't have any articulation at the hand, which really sucks. Has no ab crunch, no torso twist. Legs can go out that much, can kick that much forward, about that much, not too bad. And then just like with the hands, single jointed knees. No upper thigh cut, so no articulation there. Does have the boot cut. Feet can go up that high, that low, which is a nice range. And no real ankle pivot to speak of. So that's kind of lame. That's what I mean by it's an older figure. I guess this is before the other stuff started becoming kind of a factory standard. But yeah, I just wish that he had a little more like ab crunch and all that stuff. Just like dadgummit. But nonetheless, if you really play with him, you can get him into a kneeling position and make it look like he's getting a real cool sniper pose with either with his gauntlets or with his assault rifle. So good stuff there. So again, like I said, when it comes to articulation, there's always going to be good and bad. And because Deathstroke's a newer figure, he's going to have more. As we see, we get more of a great range with him compared to the older figure. But nonetheless, they still both look absolutely exquisite. Now for some comparisons. Here's the DC designer Greg Capullo Batman, Two-Face, and Mr. Freeze. And as you can see, these are designer series ones. This is a DC Essential, and that is just a Suicide Squad one. And they all scale really well. So I'm excited. This is what I love, is when you can get different lines, and they at least all go within the 6-inch range from, like, 6, 6.5, 6 1/4. So, I don't like to get the tape measure out, because kind of like, I'd rather just enjoy the figures. And as you can see here, guys, Batman's Rogue Gallery actually just looks superb. And then also, if you want to throw in an extra one here to just kind of get into it, we'll look at the DC Essentials Nightwing, because Dick Grayson has always kind of been a thorn in Slade Wilson's side ever since he was part of the Titans. And again, stay Batman. He scales well with all of them, just the same. I mean, look at this. Great figures, guys. I'm so glad to have these in my collection, and it's so great to be able to just do different poses with them. It's just going to look so great. I'm so excited. But yeah, these are figures that you definitely want to pick up. Yes, I mean, I know Floyd's articulation is a little blah, and I hate that they both have closed hands, but I will let it go. But again, I just wanted to show how these all scale together. So if you're looking for figures that are going to match your Dark Knight, Rogue Gallery, and Hero team, this is definitely the way to go. Now, there's a different Deathstroke out there. What is it, like the Superhero series or Superstar series that looks nice as part of the original. But I saw this one, and I just could not pass it up. Same thing with the Deadshot. I looked at an older one, and I was like, yeah, it was just a little too red for me. I like this one because it's more of a noirish, kind of a gritty Deadshot. And so, articulation aside, he is going to look great, especially if you start getting like, Captain Boomerang and Harley. Then you're going to also have a great Suicide Squad run. So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think of all of these figures, not just the ones that we're reviewing, but the Nightwing, the Batman, the Two-Face, the Mr. Freeze. Love to hear your thoughts on those figures as well down in the comments below. And also, if you guys would love to see reviews on these action figures. Overall, I think both of these figures are absolutely magnificent. Now, as you can see, it drives me nuts that they have these closed hands, so you can't have Slade drawing his sword or have Deadshot holding the stabilizing grip on his gun. So you have to, when you pose these for toy photography or on your shelf, you're really going to have to be creative. And then, that's part of the fun, but it would be nice to actually see him be able to hold his gun instead of having to give the illusion of holding. And one last thing I do want to mention when it comes to these DC designer figures is when you start posing their legs and their joints around, they do have a tendency to get loose. That's why I have Deathstroke here on a stand, because I was trying to get him into a kind of a kicking pose, but because of all the articulating that I was doing with him, his joints are loose. And that's just the nature of the beast with these figures. My Nightwing has the same problem. My Superman definitely has that problem. So that's the only downfall to the Designers series. And then again, with this guy, with Deadshot, even though his articulation is limited, he is a solid figure. I put him up here and he is just boom, ready to go. And as you can see, you got a nice little sniper pose going on. So yeah, both of these figures are going to look great in your collection, guys. So I hope that you've enjoyed this review. Please make sure to stick around towards the end. We will have a photo slideshow of these guys and some really cool poses. And if you've enjoyed these figures, please make sure to first support your local comic shop and see if they can order them for you or if they have them in stock. And as I said, they are on Big Bad Toy Store and Megalopolis. And if you've enjoyed this review, we definitely appreciate if you take a minute to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you can know, especially since we had to start over and we're persevering and getting our content back up on there. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Suicide Squad bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. You come to the channel and we'd love to have a dialogue with you down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, again, thank you all so much for stopping by. I hope you all have an amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.